Let me set the scene for you. I was on this massive tech project. I mean, huge. We're talking over 200 people from 5 different companies all trying to work together. And right in the middle of all that chaos, a single, totally casual conversation completely changed how I look at engineering. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible language that actually runs our world.
So at the time, I was about 7 years into my career, and my job was leading configuration management. Basically, I was the one making the rules to keep everyone's work from turning into a total mess. And the person I worked with most was the server administrator. You could say our roles were like 2 wheels on the same cart. We had to be perfectly in sync to keep the project moving. We talked all the time, which is what led to, well, the moment it all clicked.
One day, we were just chatting, making small talk, and I asked him a question that seemed completely harmless. This was a giant system we were building, and Java was a core part of it. So I just assumed, of course, he's deep in it, writing Java to manage all the servers. Seemed like a no-brainer, right?
His answer just stopped me in my tracks. Actually, I've never written it. I was floored. I mean, wait a minute. An engineer, a server administrator on a project this big who doesn't write one of the main programming languages? How is that even possible? And that one sentence was the spark that lit up this whole hidden world I never knew existed.
I was still trying to get my head around it, so I kind of stumbled through a follow-up question. So you don't program at all then? He just smiled and said something super modest, like, well, I do simple stuff, but that simple stuff, wow. It turned out to be the absolute linchpin of the entire operation.
And that simple stuff he was talking about? Well, here it is. He meant scripts. Things like shell scripts for Linux or VB scripts for Windows. These aren't huge, complicated applications. Think of them more like powerful little translators. They take a command from a management system and tell the server exactly what to do, step by step. It's the real language of the server room, and it's almost completely invisible.
If you're finding this peek behind the curtain as mind-blowing as I did, do us a huge favor and hit that like button and definitely subscribe for more deep dives like this. It really helps us bring these kinds of stories to you.
After that conversation, it was like a veil had been lifted. I finally started to see the system's true structure. It wasn't just about the Java applications we were building. The whole thing was automated. We had these scheduled tasks called JOBS, which were managed by a control system called JP1. But here's the thing. JP1 couldn't talk to the servers on its own. It needed a translator.
And the slide just lays it out perfectly. At the very top, you've got JP1, the brain, managing all the jobs. Way down at the bottom, you have the individual servers, the muscles, doing the actual work. But that middle layer, that's the magic. The scripts are the nervous system, the connectors, the critical bridge that turns a high-level plan into a real-world action. Without them, absolutely nothing happens.
So, all that fancy Java code our teams were spending months writing? That was just the tip of the iceberg, the part you can actually see. It could only even exist because it was sitting on this massive invisible foundation of scripts that controlled literally everything.
This whole thing made me totally rethink what makes an engineer valuable. It's not just about writing thousands of lines of code in some cool new language. It's about the incredible power that was hidden in what my colleague just called simple stuff. This small code was running the most critical tasks imaginable.
And just look at this list. We're not talking about small-time tasks. We're talking about the absolute lifeblood of the system. Weekly automated processes, huge batch jobs that run all night, collecting every single log for security and debugging, connecting to the monitoring systems to make sure the whole thing doesn't fall over. All of it, every last bit, was run by a ton of these little scripts.
And here is the craziest part. This work isn't glamorous at all. Nobody's getting a promotion for writing a really elegant shell script, but the stakes, they're sky high. If just one of those hundreds of simple scripts has a bug, the entire multi-million-dollar system can grind to a dead stop. That's the kind of pressure and power we're talking about here.
So this brings up a really important question for all of us. Who's more valuable? The engineer who can build a big, complex app in a modern language, or the engineer who can actually make the entire system run, day in and day out, using these essential connecting scripts? The answer isn't as obvious as you might think.
If this explainer is making you rethink some things, the best way to let us know is by hitting that like button. Honestly, it makes a huge difference and helps the channel grow. Thanks a bunch.
So that feeling I had at the beginning, that total confusion of an engineer who doesn't code, it slowly changed into this incredibly powerful new belief.
I started to see this immense, hidden value all around me that I'd just been blind to before because it wasn't flashy or written in a language like Java.
And this idea became my new mantra. This is the heart of it, right here. An engineer's value isn't about what languages you can write. It's about how far you can make systems run, how reliable, how efficient, how powerful is the impact you can have on the whole operation.
So the real takeaway is this: the skill that truly matters now is the ability to connect and drive all the different pieces of a system. Seeing that invisible glue and knowing how to use it, that is the key to unlocking the next level in your career.
And that brings us to the final thought. Every single job, every industry has its own version of these scripts, right? The unglamorous, behind-the-scenes work that makes everything else possible. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. What's the invisible value in your field? And is it getting the credit it deserves?